Hello.
Hello. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good, actually.
Um,
How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to 8 hours of training today. So get that money.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I won't be able to go to all of them. Uh, Actually, I'm only signed up to actually be in person for like I think 5.5 hours of them.
Okay.
But then the other ones hopefully watching recordings today. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. I got lucky. I don't have any like synchronous classes today or tomorrow.
Mm,
So I can just do all the training I want in person.
yeah. You lucked out.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
I am not going to any tomorrow because I literally have I'm leaving my house at like 9:30 to drive to Camarillo because I have to get COVID tested before I go to class. And then I have class, and then I have another class. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Uh, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
You got this. You got this.
Yeah. But that's why I'm
Busy
like
day.
watching a lot of recordings too. So I'm like not available tomorrow.
At least they have that as an option. I
Yeah,
think that's pretty
that's
cool.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does make me a little nervous though, because I'm leading one. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like recorded forever and ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind
it
of
makes
a
me a little nervous.
freaky feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
it'll be cool in the long run. Your
Mhm.
influence will always be there. Your impact on the writing center. So
Yes. As
ever
my
and
last
ever and ever.
semester, my last gift to all of you will be Canva.
It's a good gift. It's a good gift.
It is. It is.
I was
Yeah.
like
No,
looking at all the
actually.
workshops. I was like, this is actually like really useful stuff. So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. The one I'm actually like kind of confused on, and I was gonna ask Sohi about it. It looks like there's supposed to be one with Koa on how to do creative writing, but then it's not on the schedule to sign up for. And I'm like, the heck, like
isn't
that one sounds awesome. No,
I think I signed up for it.
where? Because please tell me,
It's
because
like
I
I
want
think
to put my name down.
it's at the very bottom. It's 6:30 to 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah,
Actually, I might be able to
anonymous
even make
liger.
that one.
Yeah. Hi,
Hi,
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Hey guys.
Maybe, can I make that one? Actually, I might be able to make that one. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited because he helped me with some creative writing last semester, and it like literally he helped me so much that I was like, he has a whole workshop. Yes, I need
No.
help.
Yeah. He's so great with like creative writing stuff. So I've heard
Mhm.
the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, we'll
We're
give
doing.
people a couple more minutes to get here. Should have two more people coming, but we'll see. Um, Anyways, it's the first day of school, you guys.
Is I found out I have something due today. Like
How do you guys
like my
feel
class
about
just started and they're like, oh yeah, this assignment's due today. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay, that's cool.
man.
No. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't have anything due today. I don't think. I haven't even looked. I'm like, I'm not gonna look. Hi, Samaya. I just put your name down. Do you put your name down if you're not a tutor? I'm gonna put your name down anyway.
I wasn't there on orientation, so I didn't sign up for anything.
Right. Right. That's right. You were moving in. Is that why? Because you were moving in?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
moving a bunch of stuff.
That's a very inconvenient day.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Well,
I get paid for it though, because I just watched the video.
Nice.
true.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. Well, Tiffany and Nicolette should also be coming, but we'll just get started. So I'm gonna share my screen. Actually, yes, I can. I should be able to. Okay, great. So basically, I've been playing around with this for a while to kind of like see where I wanted to go with this and like what I wanted to show you guys. But I kind of, first of all, I kind of wanted to ask, like, what do you guys typically struggle with? Like, is there anything you typically struggle with, or things that you have questions about, or anything like that? Like, I kind of, basically what we're really just going to do today is walk through making a flyer so I can show you all of my tips and tricks and kind of like all of the things that I usually make sure to do, things that how to search for like certain things, or the little things that you don't always know are there. So if you guys have questions, also just talk. This is a conversation. This whole thing is a conversation. But do you guys have any initial like curiosities about Canva? If not, that's chill. So basically the first thing I kind of want to do was I made this mock-up. These are not the correct hours. I put 13 a.m. to 18 to make sure people knew this is not correct. But basically what I did is I made this one and I made it purposefully askew, because one of the things that I have noticed in when I see sometimes flyers posted to like Instagram, or I see them kind of like being made, I see them off center a lot of time. And if we're going to be representing the center, if we're going to be like saying, hey, we help you to create things that look the best they can be, we need to also create things that look the best that they can be. So I just wanted to show you guys, like, if this poster and this one are basically exactly the same. I changed a few little things, but I wanted to point out on this one. So this guy is not centered. I actually don't even know if these are centered. I can't remember what I did. I just want to make one thing off center to show like, hey, it doesn't look quite right, and this is why. So what you would do is you would just, whenever you're creating it, you always just make sure to watch these little pink lines. Can you guys see this, or should I zoom in a little bit? I just realized my screen is kind of big, so maybe you can't see it. So these little like pink lines that show up, these are really, really key and vital. And I'm sure you might already know these. These are pretty typical, but you always just want to make sure that you're actually using those to your best advantage. What will happen is these will show up, and then, but also like these little ones, if you can see kind of like on the right side, these dotted ones will show up too. That means that the words that I'm holding on to are at that far right side of the words of the box is lined up to the center of the Writing and Multiliteracy logo. So it's showing you something else that it's being centered on. You don't want to do those. You really, really, really want to make sure that you're looking at those solid lines that are in the middle of each side. So like the vertical one and the horizontal one. This is not where you want it. You want to make sure that this center one here is what you're looking at. Those solid ones are the most crucial. Now, if you are wanting to center it to something else, then yeah, you would use those little dotted lines. But if you're wanting to make something centered on the entire flyer, those solid ones are what you're going to want to pay attention to the most. Okay, so this poster looks okay. It's fine. It has the information on there, but we could always like zhuzh it up a little bit, right? We can always bring in this little like this red color here, which is what I was kind of doing down here with this one. So this color for the Writing and Multiliteracy Center, like for the CSU, Channel Islands, our color is red, right? So I like to, most of the time I'll bring that color in. Sometimes it doesn't work with like the color palette or whatever. And so I won't bring it in. I'll just leave the logo how it is. But a lot of times it's actually kind of fun to really just make that blend a little bit more. So that's what I've done here is I made the words a little bit bigger. These are the things that I've done here. I've made the words a little bit bigger, the title at least, and then made it a little bit more clear just to read. I brought in that color. One thing I also did was this little like this background that I chose. It was kind of fall. It had like fall leaves and stuff. I thought it was kind of cute for the fall semester, right? But it's a little bit busy. And if you use fonts that are really thin, it can sometimes, like this is pretty bold and you can read it, but if you want to use ones that are a little bit more thin, it might be harder to read on top of that. So this little box here is a trick that I use actually like a lot. I put one of these like transparent box things and just put all of the text on top of that so that it makes it just a little bit like the background is blurred a little bit. So it's not so, contrasty against the text and whatever background you might be using. And we'll use that. I'll show you guys how to like make it transparent and all of that stuff. Okay, before we I guess I was gonna ask if you guys have any other questions, but I also started making this one just to show some kind of something a little bit different. These are the actual hours. So I figured let's put that information in here and we'll actually like try to make one today. And if you guys ever have suggestions or like, hey, I like this font over this one, like I want to kind of like collaborate on this flyer that we're going to make and see like how things might work. Or if you guys have a suggestion and I notice something, then I can say like, well, this might work better than this, and this is why, that kind of a thing. So this one isn't completed. I was literally just messing around with this last night. But yeah, okay. So do you guys have any questions so far, just with those little bits? No, okay, cool. Okay, so this flyer was made actually, can you guys see this, like this picture over here on the left that I'm kind of, okay. So I made it from this and it looked to me, in my opinion, like it looks completely different. But I liked the look and kind of like the coffee feel and like it's back to school. We're all gonna be like drinking coffee. So not like with the flyer that I was using before, it had like fall leaves, right? Well, this one was kind of like, it's just coffee. It's just, I don't know. I felt like that was kind of cool. Okay, but here's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna add a page. It's going to automatically just give me the same color as I had previously. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to these templates up here. Now I could go to these recently used and kind of like see what other people have used if I don't want to use the same thing that someone else has used, right? Just to make sure I'm not doubling up. But typically what I'll do is I'll actually just go to this For You and see what it's just suggesting to me. And that's how I found this little coffee one. And I'll typically start with a template, unless I have a very specific idea of what I want in my flyer already. I just start with a template. So I'll go through here, I'll see what they have. If I don't really like anything, like let's say I didn't like this one right here, I can type up here, I can say coffee, and let's just see what comes up, right? I mean, these clouds are kind of cute. Oh yeah, you have to watch out for like these pro ones. It's really annoying. But sometimes I like the aesthetic of one, but it wouldn't necessarily work for a flyer, which is also annoying. Okay, so this one is pro, but we're gonna figure out why it's pro, and we're just gonna, oh, it doesn't even want to let me use it. That's stupid. I wanted to just use the background. Okay, well, I'm gonna get rid of coffee. We're gonna go down here, just see what there is. Oh, okay, I kind of like this one. This one's cool. Again, pro, seriously, why is it doing that? Okay, no, it's just showing you guys. It's just showing you guys how frustrating this can be. Okay, we're just gonna go with these hands that kind of look like fall leaves. we're just going to go with that because I like the colors. Now, if I like the pattern or whatever, then I'll keep it. Sometimes I don't like the font, so I'll go and change the font. We're just going to keep the font for now because we know that these kind of work together. We might change it later. We'll see. So I'm going to actually just write in WMC, and then I'm going to do this one, fall 2021 hours. And then I'm just going to make all of this smaller because we really don't need it that big. Let's say 100 for now. Okay, so again, bring it up here. Okay, here's another thing. This is why I just wanted to walk through it because I'm going to see all these little things that I'm seeing, like, I don't know when it's going to come up, right? So when I'm moving this one around, do you see this faint pink box that comes up? I will typically try to stay within that box. That doesn't always work out, but I will try to stay within that because it just gives me a really good border around it. Make sure everything's like condensed, centered, you know that everything's kind of within a good proportion. So I will try to kind of do that. What will often happen though is I'll end up putting like the title of these a little bit above that box. And then this one I'll just come up, make sure it's centered, and then put it not on top of it, but like kind of matching like that. Again, so do you see how this is a little bit hard, even though it's a bold font, being on top of this pattern kind of makes it a little bit difficult to read. So there's a couple things we could do. We could do that like box idea, and I'll show you guys how to do that. But what I'm kind of thinking right now is I'm just going to delete those top ones. And it just automatically kind of opens it up too. I'm actually going to move these a little bit down also because they're a little much for me. I don't know what they look like anymore. They still look like hands, but I don't know. I think they kind of look like fall colored palm leaves. Okay, so we're gonna leave this here. I'm gonna come back up here and I'm going to copy these to hours that I made already. So this is how I did that. So I clicked on one, I held down Shift, clicked the other, and then you can hold them together. And then on a Mac, it's Command C. On a PC, I think it's something else. I think it's like Option or Alt or something C, whatever you would normally use to copy on a keyboard. And then you come down here. I'm gonna just put this up here for now so we can keep it. And I'm gonna paste these in here, maybe put them in the center-ish. I'm gonna change the color for now because I'm just gonna make it white. I just wanna make sure that we can see. So basically these are the hours, right? The other thing is, I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. Again, if I'm going too fast or if I'm like really all over the place, please just stop me. Tell me. A really good tip for these flyers is you don't want to use too many colors and you don't want to use too many fonts, because when you do all of that, it doesn't give the eye a chance to land anywhere. The most important information is where you want the reader's eye to land. So especially in this case, we want them to land on the hours, right? So we actually want that to be the brightest part. I think it's fine. Like typically we would maybe want the title to stand out, but because we really want them to know like these are the hours and we want that to be the easiest thing to read, that's what we want to be the brightest color. So I'm just gonna probably end up leaving those white. You don't want to use too many fonts. So we might keep this font. We might get rid of this really like pretty fancy font, or maybe we could put could do one of those fancy things and like write something over that because you can still kind of read it actually. We'll play around with that. Okay, so the next step is you always want to put the WMC's logo on the flyer. every single time. How to get to that. And so I'm actually logged into the WMC's Canva right now. How to get to that is you would go to uploads. And then this is the logo here. You don't always have to put the dolphin one. You can, that is an option. But this, no, that is the other thing. Everything's always live. So you have to, sometimes it doesn't always work out, but you like grab something you didn't need to grab. I will typically put the logo in this bottom right-hand corner. You can also put it in the top left, or you could put it really in any corner. I feel like these are typically the best ones because the eye and the American eye will read from left to right. So when you're like, when we were kind of in like training, right, we learned about vectors, you go from left to right, you go from top to bottom. That's how we read as Americans. So that's kind of where that's typically where you want to put the most important information, or like what you want their eye to be caught first, where you want their eye to be caught first would be the logo. Now, sometimes the logo looks better at the top, sometimes it looks better at the bottom. For this one, I think I kind of like it down here better. It brings out, it lets the title stand out a little bit more. So you always want to put that logo on there. This one you can just like make it smaller. And then now it's behind stuff though. So I'm just going to use my arrows to kind of bring it to where I can grab it because everything's live, right? Oh, I'm probably not going to be able to grab it. That's okay. Again. So just move things out of the way or do this. I select everything and then just do this. Okay, see again. Okay, got it. Canva's a little weird like that. What I mean by live is everything is always grabbable. So there actually is a trick for that. So let's say you have things, you have it exactly where you want it to be. I'm going to put this down here. So let's say we know we have this title exactly where we want it to be, right? So I could actually do this. You can go up here and you can group them. That will make them all move all the time, stay in the same position always. So we'll just do that for now. We don't necessarily need that in this situation, but we'll do it for now. Then you can actually come up here and you can lock it. So I can now freely move. I can put this over here and then grab and like, well, maybe not grab it again. Okay, so we're just going to undo that. But basically when you try to grab it, it won't move this thing that you don't want to be moved, right? That's locking is helpful. But actually what you can okay, another trick. So there are lots of layers. There's lots of elements to these flyers. So you can position them. So up here, I'm just going to bring it forward. And that will mean that this is on top of those words. So now it's not behind it and I can grab it better. But again, I'm actually not going to put that on this flyer. So this is like basically what I would do to build a basic flyer. Then you come up here. I put it over here. And then I always just put like for additional information, again, I'm just copying and pasting this. For additional information, please see our website, blah, blah, blah. So you'll come up here, you'll choose whatever color you want the font to be. And then this one actually has what they call an effect on it. Come up to effects. So I put a shadow on this one. You can mess with how this shadow works as well. So right now it's set at 50. I could kind of make it a little bit thicker, or offset just means like the shadow, it's as if the shadow is longer. Like if you're like, it's longer. So you can kind of see sort of, I can zoom in a little bit so you can see better what I'm talking about. So in these effects, when I make it the offset like lower, it's not as prominent, but if I make it all the way, do you see how it gets like longer or like a more away from it? That's what it means by offset. I'm just going to put it back towards 50 where we had it before. And then you can also change the direction. So like if you want the sun to be coming from a different direction, you can change that. There's a blur, which I don't typically use, but it can be nice if you want everything to be more soft. There's not so many harsh lines. This one is fine because of the little graphics that we're using, the little hands, they're sharp lines. So having it too harsh is fine. You can also make it transparent, which again, just kind of depends on the look you're going for. I wouldn't do too much of these effects to anything. You don't want to overdo this. You don't want to do so many effects that the eye doesn't know where to land. So I'm also going to change this font to whatever this one is. So this one is called Clear Sans Thin. So I'm going to choose this, change Clear Sans Thin. Okay, again, so it's a little, I can't read it very well, right? So I'm actually going to say, okay, what font was this? We'll unlock that. What font was this one? Anton. Okay, so come down here, change this to Anton. Much easier to read. It's a little close together, but we can edit that too. One thing that I do want to point out, again, this is just like all of the things that I'm thinking about in my brain. The color of the shadow, you can change the color of the shadow. So I could make it pink if I really wanted, or purple or blue, or I could make it red. I think black where it was right now is probably the best, just to kind of keep that offset. And actually, I kind of wonder if this like dark brown, just to bring in this dark brown color that they have with this hand, bring that over. And then we can even like make the shadow a little more offset, just to kind of, sometimes you can see it makes it a little bit easier to read, depending on that. So that's where you would play around with that also. Actually, I think the color we chose is the background color. So that could be kind of cool because it makes it look like it's only in certain places on the letters. We can also just make it bigger, it's always an option. Okay, so I just always like to put that on here. Okay, again, I don't really like this font because it's actually kind of hard to read, especially with even with the like blur. It's just hard to read. What I'm doing is I'm imagining this being on my phone on Instagram, and like this is just hard to read. This small. I mean, obviously our phones are getting bigger by the second, but it's going to be small. It's not going to be as big as I'm looking at it right now. So I need to keep that in mind. So these are probably want to choose maybe a little bit different font, just to make it a little bit easier to read. That's kind of the basics of that. But I also wanted to just mention like a couple of things like elements. Elements, you can literally search for anything. You can search, like, again, like earlier we were searching for coffee, right? So I can search coffee and all these little like graphics come up. Some of them move, which is really cool. You can just have like, you can find a random cup of coffee and just put that in your in your flyer or anything like that. Elements are one of my favorite things. I actually kind of like these beans. Again, they're pro, so they'll have like those lines all across them. But elements is great. That's where these like hands would be. So let's see if we wanted to find like different hands. If we wanted that, we would just have to search it. That is one thing that I have found that's a little bit annoying, of like, if I have an element in my flyer, I can't just click on it and like find that same hand in the elements. I wish that was like a thing, or like to do that, because sometimes like I could click on this hand over here and it'll give me what they call magic recommendations. So it'll actually show me like, here's all the other things that we have in this same art style. like all of these hands in this same art style, sometimes even a sun, and you can find things that match and go with that. And I absolutely love that. Oh my gosh, it's almost over. I was totally not paying attention to time. Okay. So I'm gonna delete that little hand we have here. Okay, does anyone have questions? Again, I'm so sorry, I totally went over. Well, almost basically did. These are the ins and outs. We didn't even finish our flyer. But okay, let's see. Does anyone have questions? Does anyone have questions? Okay. Really quick, because these are things I wanted to mention, was you can adjust the line spacing, so I can make the actual letters be further apart if I want to. I can also change the like, if I have multiple lines, it's easier to see on this one. I can change the distance between all of the lines, which is really great. I love that. You can always just go here and like choose a background if you want. Just always make sure that you're like finding those pink lines. Those pink lines are vital to making everything centered and or not centered. Those are vital. Okay. And okay, I will have another session, so maybe I'll try to get more in that one and I'll actually pay attention to the time. But you guys can just see how long it actually takes to make a flyer, because I'm thinking about all of these things and all that. So, okay.
Thanks so much, Kiana.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm so sorry I went over.
It's okay.
But anyway. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Alyssa's workshop too. But
okay.
I'll see you next time.
Bye.